Chapter 5 of the Eurotrip Part 2. Written on Monday the 1st of September at 2:30 in the afternoon. In a very nice place right now, but you will find out about that later. Anyways, now for the Slovenian adventure. Stepping out of Leski Bled station, the first thought was, where the fuck do we go? Luckily, there was a trail of very English people with huge backpacks heading towards a bus stop, so we followed. A very cramped coach ride dropped us at somewhere near the lake, though we had to fight our way through some pushy Asian women. Our hostel was just around the corner. The reception was closed, but a little note was left for me with the keys inside. We dropped our bags and headed straight down to the lake. Holy shit. How had I never heard of this paradise? The lake was pretty big, with a mountain on one side crowned with a castle, and trees surrounding the rest of it. In the centre of the lake was a large rock with a church on top. It was absolutely lush. We wandered around it, taking pictures and dreaming of harassing the ducks. We managed to find 3 Glab adventures to book canyoning and the Emerald River adventure. We then hired a rowing boat across the island, which was more effort than expected. After more pictures and offending a woman by a religious statue, we rowed back, blasting out music all the way. We started our journey back, stopping for dinner at Chile, which served actually the best burrito I have ever had. Sadly, this experience was dampened by a large group of English girls who were the most outrageously annoying people we had ever experienced, and over the next few days we met others who had also been traumatised by their presence. Finally, we returned to the hostel and met Mirham, the receptionist, who was extremely nice, though upset by the amount of emails I had been sending her. After agreeing on a new hostel motto of first come, first served, we visited our room and found 2 Irish girls and Claire. Okay. Now, it is rare I start a new paragraph, but Claire is worth it. She was literally the funniest ever. We heard about how she had been working in Poland, abusing tractor drivers and upsetting a girl in Budapest after she got the wrong hole. We were too tired to go out, so the Irish left and we stayed talking. Ryan, who had worked and travelled with Claire, joined us, and we agreed to all get up early and cycle to Vintga Gorge. On angrily awakening, we went down to get the hostel's free bikes. Sadly, they were all fucked, except for one, which was a piece of shit. Claire took the shit, and we rented some elsewhere for €12 each. The ride to the gorge was such fun times, riding through Slovenian villages to the sound of Claire screaming, "I have no brakes!" It was €3 to get into the gorge, so after contemplating suicide, we entered the gorge. As usual, it was freaking nice, and we photographed our way to the other end. We asked some lady how to get back. She answered, anyway, laughing manically. Might have been imagined. We started on some trail through the woods, following nothing but a sign to a pizzeria. We instead found cows, and after the compulsory selfies, we continued along the path through the mountain to eventually arrive back at our bikes. On the way back, we were just turning a corner when suddenly Ryan was flung from his bike onto the road. He had a fair few cuts and grazes, but was okay. So after cleaning him up, we returned to the hostel. Claire made us a Polish meal consisting of egg, potato and cream cheese. I helped by grating, for the first time ever, the potatoes and Claire mixed and started to fry it all. After she failed, Ryan took over, and it was bloody delicious. We went our separate ways as me and Josh were picked up for canyoning. We met Zoe and Tom from the UK before arriving at some huge mountain to get dressed up Power Ranger / Tomb Raider outfits. After a horrendous walk up a cliff, we reached the first part, which was a leap off into some small body of water. The rest was slides, abseiling and a zip wire, all of which were absolutely excellent. We returned to the lake and were recommended to go for cream cakes. We did, and they were the best. Back to the hostel, and we reunited with Claire and Ryan. We decided to have dinner together, along with Roy, a new addition to the room from Finland. We chopped together in the kitchen, and Josh put everything together as Roy proudly cooked the spaghetti, all to make a delicious meal. James also joined, who had met Claire and Ryan a few weeks before. After a reasonable amount of drinks, me, Josh, Roy and James went out for a couple of drinks more. We talked about various travel experiences, featuring Roy's friend's shitty one-night stand. After I compared Norway not paying tax in November to Movember, we all retreated to the hostel. We awoke early Saturday to pack and head out on our adventure tour. We bid farewell to Ryan and Roy, though sadly not to Claire, and hopped into a big white van. Our guide was Timotej, a young Slovenian who studies law. He grew up in Bled and loves extreme sports, particularly skiing. Also in our van was Greg and Amanda, who were fellow Brits, and 4 young Americans. The first part of the drive was long, but landed us at some pretty lake. We were told some story about a mountain goat with golden horns and got pictures straddling a model of it. The other guide with us, Cloudy, joked about people getting travel sick on the next bit of the drive, putting me on edge. However, it was fine, and we ended up in some beautiful mountains. There was a pagan temple where we sacrificed 9 virgins and a crying woman's face in the rocks. I got talking to an American woman from Wisconsin. She spent 10 minutes telling me about her friend, and I could not even remember why I asked her. Anyway, after another cow experience, we were back on the road. We saw some river, but the experience was ruined by me and Josh screaming for food. After drinking the best water ever, and Josh sticking his head in the river, they took us for food. We were waiting to leave, and Josh accused a British couple of fucking in the toilet. Brackets, not realising they were sat behind us. Next was the white water rafting, whilst they packed us into tight wetsuits and life jackets for... Tim advised us to dip our toes in the water first, so Josh leaped into the river screaming. Fabian, the instructor, was terrified. We set out on the river, with Fabian surprised at what an awful job we were doing. We got to leap off rocks, and my shoe came off. R.I.P. We got better though, except to the American girl who kept falling in, and were set up for the photo finish, where we hit a huge rock and all fell in pretty much. Next was a long walk to a waterfall where we went to swim. It was cold as fuck, but was an experience, I guess. As I climbed along a rock out of there, the Wisconsin lady took loads of pictures of me. I asked to see them, but she refused to let me see them. Weird. We drove on to a bridge to leap off, which we were fully keen to do. The American guy went first, followed by Josh. I was last, and as soon as I got up there, I freaked out and backed out. It definitely spent too long staring at the water. After, Tim did some outrageous professional dive and we were on our way to a train ride where we parked the van on it, and it took us through the mountains. We taught Tim about dogging, which he found hilarious, and started flashing the lights at the other cars. We rode off the train playing hip-hop gangster shit and went to see another huge-ass lake. Finally, we were taken, and after saying goodbye to Tim and the huge mole on his back... Cloudy dropped us to Leski Bled station. We managed to sneak into a mystical supermarket just before it closed and stocked up on food for the long journey ahead. The woman shouted at us out and we sat at the station restaurant and had the best hamburgers ever. Josh smashed up the ashtray with a hammer to let her know we were done, and we moved on to the platform. I joined my own short self-help group and begged my mother to stop screaming gay at us as we were trying to help ourselves. Eventually our train came and we had to say bye to the amazing Slovenia and hello to a crock full of shit.